Hey, get ready for some crazy internet video because every week we're gonna have a new one.
The northern lights in Norway are incredible.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Woo! Oh my god. Oh my god.
In the air, anything can happen, and no one is immune to these kinds of incidences. How did this even happen? Today, we will show you 100 of the most epic aviation mishaps, and hopefully you won't cancel your flight. With a pilot like this, it's best not to fly if you have a weak vestibular system. Well, this flight didn't last long. The rescue operation didn't go as planned when the helicopter hit power lines. Fortunately, no one was hurt. It looks like the plane is frozen, but it's just an optical illusion because the car is moving faster and in the opposite direction. And this Boeing made an emergency landing due to a detached engine cowling. Definitely not something you want to see out of your window.
Mr. Ventura.
The pilot of a racing plane was in such a hurry to take off that he almost collided with another plane, braked sharply, and ended up without a propeller. Aircraft and helicopters can also have road accidents. While some of us are afraid to even look out the window, a passenger on this plane manually started the engine at an altitude of 1,000 feet.
Thanks.
Ask him about safety regulations. Didn't even take off yet and already messed up. The plane didn't want to take off, but was forced to anyway. And this is what it led to.
I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Nothing predicted trouble when this helicopter was set to land on board an aircraft carrier, but then... This plane accidentally entered a restricted zone and encountered some problems. During landing, the pilot's hand trembled and the plane veered in the wrong direction.
Excellent landing.
When you are asked to work on the weekend. The plane's engine suddenly stalled, and the pilots had no choice but to perform an emergency landing on a highway.
Good job, man. Good job, man.
Piloting a plane is clearly not his calling. He nearly killed a bunch of people. An experienced pilot was training a new guy when suddenly the plane's engine stopped working at the altitude of 600 feet. They were surrounded by trees with nowhere to land the plane, but at the very last moment, the pilot spotted a field he could land on. Transporting a big glass panel on a helicopter might not have been the best idea. Do you think he already found a new job? When an engine failed on a fire helicopter, the pilot was very lucky that it happened over water. The pilot must have thought, what's the worst that could happen if he did one more trick? Luckily, the crew managed to eject. This girl bought 3 economy seats and turned them into a business class with plastic wrap. The flight attendant wasn't impressed. This guy proved that people can fly. Almost. I think if I took the wheel instead of this guy, the same thing would happen.
Oh no. Oh, fire.
During the flight, a passenger got too hot and decided to open the emergency door, landing him in jail for 10 years. The pilot lost control. It's a miracle that no one was hurt. This gyroplane was not meant to take off.
What?
Luckily, it happened on the ground. Imagine the surprise of the drivers seeing a military helicopter flying so low. Look at this. You might think the pilot is drunk, but in reality, he just wanted to amaze the audience during his airshow performance.
Bounce, 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 bounce. Hey. Yeah. Oh my God. Bounce with me.
The plane took off in a very bad way, and don't worry about the pilot. He's fine, strangely enough. The helicopter struggled to transport a massive AC unit. A man with a ticket was forcibly removed from the plane before takeoff because they wanted to seat an airline employee in his place. He was offered accommodation in a hotel and a ticket for the next flight, but he refused because he was a doctor flying to see his patients. When this plane experienced engine problems after takeoff, the pilot deployed a parachute and saved everyone on board. 4 adults, a 3-year-old child, and a newborn. This passenger plane with 146 people on board made an emergency landing with the front landing gear turned sideways. When it touched the runway, the tires started burning, but it had no effect on safety and everything ended well.
End of the runway. Mighty strong landing gear here. All possible scenarios, it did not collapse. The chin gear, the chin of that aircraft did not skid down the runway.
This is why cars are better off not driving on the runway. The plane's nose wheel broke and a soft landing was not an option. I'm not a pilot, but it seems to me that there's something wrong with this landing. When you want to perform a beautiful trick, but achieve the opposite result. When landing is not included in the flight cost. It looks like the helicopter has no chance, but the pilot managed to steer clear at the very last moment. Spectators at the Thunder over Michigan Air Show will remember for a long time when pilots ejected seconds before their plane caught fire and crashed. People go to great lengths for a nice photo. Not the best landing. And these two planes liked each other so much, they linked their tails. A brief overview of the downside of a private plane. I guess if they can't afford a private plane, they wouldn't worry about some bag. Check out how much the plane moves due to a 37-knot wind. I can imagine how loudly the passengers applauded when the plane finally landed. Just look at the way this plane takes off in the strong winds. I have yet another phobia now. At high altitudes in the mountains, the air is so thin that it's challenging for the helicopter's rotors to lift. That's what happened to this rescue helicopter. A pilot gained altitude during an air show and lost consciousness. Fortunately, he quickly came to.
Welcome back, brother. See, popped out. Yeah, you did, but...
This paraglider lost control for a few seconds, but he managed to get it back. This flying boat almost stalled and fell on people and other boats. I don't know what the pilot was thinking. A military helicopter got entangled in the electrical cables of a soccer field during takeoff. And this is a hard landing in a snowdrift. The operator who filmed this takeoff is definitely far from timid. Sad consequences of losing control. This plane couldn't do the most crucial thing, take off. And here's the result. And this was an attempt to lift the vintage Sopwith Camel biplane up in the air. Looks like it belongs in a museum. Meanwhile, this guy decided to start a helicopter indoors with a mannequin inside. Another way to waste a few $1,000s. There's a small surprise on this plane. A helicopter colliding with power lines looks dangerous. Look at what happened to this Boeing 747 with 4 engines. Luckily, it was a demo flight and it was a toy, but still, what a pity. This plane's wings literally folded in flight, but the pilot miraculously survived. When you're an airplane, but suddenly want to become a boat. This pilot made a scene when he landed on the beach. A South Korean plane miscalculated a maneuver and collided with a Turkish plane with passengers on board, tearing off its tail. Fortunately, there were no casualties, but everyone was scared. This pilot just successfully reversed, resulting in 2 canceled flights. A woman smashed a bottle of alcohol in the cabin, but no worries, she has a second one. Her level of preparedness is enviable. An ultralight aircraft crashed not once, but twice. First, it stalled in the sky and made an emergency landing on the beach, and when it tried to take off again, it was out of luck. The plane got caught in a hailstorm, and just look at the consequences. They would have been better off waiting at the airport. Leaving a helicopter on an oil rig during a storm was not the best decision. And here, the pilot had to land the plane on one wheel due to strong crosswinds. A police helicopter was prepared to take off, but a truck changed its plans when it hit the blades. If you wanted to know the fate of old planes, the person behind the camera may find it funny, but people inside the plane not so much. There was nowhere else to land. This plane landed at the end of the runway, and it did not have enough space left to brake. A bird hit the plane's engine, making the cabin fill up with smoke, and the pilots had to urgently return to the departure airport to save people. The helicopter's engine failed, which caused it to hit the ground when landing, shattering into pieces. But thankfully, all 4 crew members managed to survive. This plane knocked down a glider worth $8,000. Next time, they should choose a launch site more carefully. This helicopter's onboard equipment failed, and it fell into the water from a 15-foot height. The pilot tried to lift it back in the air, but only made it worse. A cargo plane accelerated but couldn't take off. It crashed into the fence and a shed and sustained damage. An unfortunate takeoff ended in a dangerous crash, but everyone on board, including 2 adults, 2 children, and 2 dogs, was okay. Take a moment to appreciate the power of the Boeing 747 engine. It's more powerful than the strongest of tornadoes. I wouldn't want to be in these people's shoes. And here the pilots had no choice but to make an emergency landing at the center of an Iranian city. Not something you see every day.
Speak, come in. Hey, get ready for some crazy internet video because every week we're gonna have a new one, so please subscribe.